Welcome at BLUEGIFT project presentation. My name is Nicholas Wallet. I'm the program manager for IMEC. IMEC is a test center for offshore marine renewable, and we've got about £90 million of portfolio in projects, 40 plus projects live at any time. And in this presentation, what I want to do is to show you what is our strategy for IMEC on our partners using Interregs to support real sea deployment. Nowadays, the energy sector is open to all to compete. There is no need for state monopoly. However, practically the funding requirement to develop an energy sector is usually way above the capacity of any businesses. Further, renewables are usually very intensive on capex, capital expenditure, and that is capex upfront, which dramatically increases the financial risk. As well as this, renewable energy technologies are often struggling at TRL 6 to 8. That is the valley of death. And pushed by small businesses or startups with very little capacity for investment. Ultimately, we have to be honest with ourselves. Money is not solving all the issues. Is the market ready to pick up ocean energy as the technology satisfies investors and essential requirement of project developers? Is the policy sent the right signal for all the stakeholders to be on board? So, how do we get to the point that we don't need grants anymore? We are pushing to the X when grants go lower than the private cash. And I took this graph from the Ocean Energy Forum roadmap, which has been issued in November 2016, and this is at page 31. Though it is a 2016 document, it's still a good read. There's two extracts that are really interesting. The investment support must remain part of the support scheme for each technology until the industrial rollout phase is reached. If we withdraw too early in favor of revenue support type of mechanism, the technology might not have reached the required maturity to make use of the scheme. And here's a second extract. While some framework on reporting is required to ensure good use of public funding, innovation schemes should aim at being least bureaucratic, more flexible, more responsive as possible to match the fluid nature of the innovative technology development. But sustaining grant for a long period of time and select a few technology that will use this to develop the technology to investment standard is a difficult task for any government. There is limitation in terms of state aid, free market, level of intervention, and climate change priorities. Further, the policy and the market also need to follow the technology development. This presentation will show that the utilization of established test centers is the leanest solution to support the innovation in renewables and in real sea demonstration, the ultimate scale for investors to inform their support. As we can see, IMEC have tested more ocean energy technology than anywhere else in the world. BLUEGIFT project have 7 test centers for offshore renewable energy. So offshore renewable energy, that would be wave, tidal, floating offshore wind, but it's also all the integration to the grid with the energy management systems, the storage, the carbon displacement, etc. Open ocean offshore renewable energy test facility, that's what BLUEGIFT offer for plug-and-play system for the marine renewable energy developers to come and test their technology. So what we do is the BLUEGIFT partners are basically incubators, and we make sure that we have all the assets we need for innovative developers to prove their technology on site. Clearly, there is a critical need for grants to de-risk demonstration of those renewable technology and eventually bring the investors to back up the first commercial project. First reflex is likely R&D funds like the framework program Horizon Europe. But the framework program, the European Union research program, bring a lot of support to marine renewable technology, but the focus is on the research. The funding stream is limited. The grant utilization is for a few technology and do not guarantee the result in terms of very needed real sea testing of the technology to bring the investors on board. In some cases, the funder or the government has become a technology expert to assess results to the funded technology. It can stifle the innovation and increase the overhead of the grants without necessarily bringing the investors. Okay, but then you're going to ask me, how do we get the money we need to create these testing programs? How can the developer come into this incubator and test their equipment? How do we solve this capex at the upfront, the capex upfront problems that we saw earlier? The advantage of using a well-used, established test center like the 7 we have in BLUEGIFT, such as IMEC, to the funder that is, IMEC could manage the risk of technological failure to demonstrate or justify the use of the grant, and in return guarantee the funder result in terms of targets. Is what it took for our Interreg strategy at IMEC. The 14 projects all serving a purpose in the funding jigsaw that you can see. Alright, so what do we have here? We've got the TRL level from 1 to 9, and then we've got different category of project. And you can see BLUEGIFT is within this demonstration, so real sea testing offshore at TRL 4 to 5, pushing towards TRL 6. And then you've got 4C and Ocean Demo keeping the TRL a little bit further away. So 4C past Interreg project, Ocean Demo current Interreg project under Northwest Europe, and pushing towards a multi-device deployment on afloat just above for floating offshore wind, which is looking at close to commercial deployment. But a bit before, so BLUEGIFT, Interreg AA, and Monitor and Proto-Atlantic, also Atlantic era, are looking at creating the momentum for this technology to push toward a little bit further up in the TRL scale. And then also, apart this demonstration program, we also have accelerator with Marine Energy Alliance or WESA. We're also using integration with other energy management system, integration to the grid, hydrogen and battery, that's high-tech. And we're also working on the standards on the market for tidal, wave, blue economy, floating offshore wind, cost reduction. And again, we've got a few projects here accumulating to bring to the developer a one-stop shop. But the test sites, such as in BLUEGIFT project, are incubator to support the developer for all these different needs, so they can get ready at TRL 8 to 9 for the market and for the investors. IMEC and some of the other test sites using the same system, such as the case with BLUEGIFT partners, we had to reshape completely how to be able to sustain highly demanding funding, in terms of procurement, audit trails, stated requirement, etc. But here it is, you see it on this slide. For IMEC alone, we have leverage about 100 million to support the developer to reach offshore testing. Most of the money is in TRL 6 to 8 for offshore testing, where there's the highest need. Remember this upfront capex. This is not perfect, the money is difficult to access, it's only operational cost. There is cash flow issue, often as reimbursement grants can give you cash flow issues. You still have to co-finance, but we get the metal wet. There are 3 ways to push innovation to the market. Further grant support, which we're always seeking to facilitate real environment testing. Commit to a major customer or a joint venture with a distributor or beneficiary. And in our solve climate disasters, the point is made that government are the biggest customers for energy, and the procurements need to be ready to push the renewables. It is not just about niche market. Climate change need to change the policies. And the third solution is design an incubator. And I hope that this presentation explains the work of IMEC or the project BLUEGIFT and how these incubators helping, how we believe that we gain real sea testing will push the sector forward.